everyone, and welcome back. Or should I say, welcome forward? I'm your host, Ashmita, and if you are a long time listener, you know this space as the Anti Library podcast. From this last summer, we have been diving into diverse topics ranging from horror of eyes to Stranger Things to Victorian Christmas stories.
And we will continue to do so. But we are rebranding. The Anti Library podcast is officially becoming Anticlockwise, where we explore books, art, TV, culture beyond the immediate.
So, why the change? Well, the concept of the anti library has been a brilliant starting point as a marker of curiosity and intellectual humility. An idea we got from Nassim Nicholas Taleb and Umberto
Umberto Eco.
Eco, yes. But let's be honest, it's also become a bit overused lately.
Yeah, and I think more importantly, the name has somehow been mistaken. So we often had to spend time clarifying that anti library is a concept of intellectual humility. It does not really mean that we hate libraries or somehow we are against the library. In fact, we absolutely love libraries.
Over time, our conversation has expanded beyond books into bigger and perhaps more amorphous ideas, ideas that don't exactly fit very neatly into the current cultural moment.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about contemporary things, like we have done videos on Stranger Things and Bridgerton, but we also talk about things which have been relevant 50 years ago and will be relevant 50 years late from now. So we realize that our name is kind of becoming a constraint, and we need a name and a phrase that describes us better
without requiring too much explanation at the very beginning, right?
Right. Yeah, it felt like we needed a title that captured the full, sometimes intercultural, and even sometimes countercultural scope of our discussions, hence anti-clockwise.
Think about that word. Everything in our culture seems to move in one direction. The news cycle, the trending topics, the latest must know viral event. Anti clockwise is our deliberate attempt, a gentle push against that current.
Yeah, it's an attempt to keep our heads up and not kind of drown into the algorithm. It means that we need to look around, look back into the past, even if the rest of the world is just staring down their feeds.
So, when we talk about books, culture, and beyond the immediate, it is a sort of key. We are dedicated towards the slow and the deep questions. We are sort of looking for answers that are not of this exact moment and they are not containable in a hot take or something like that.
Yeah, we are still committed to delivering research-backed, bite-sized information, drawing upon both our doctoral training, our PhD research, as well as our eclectic interests.
And so, this channel is an invitation to you, the listener, to stand still and contemplate, to slow down and follow the course of your thought, to look back and to examine. That is so important today.
Yeah, so we are focused on the idea of untimeliness,
Wow.
which comes from my favorite philosopher, Friedrich Nietzsche. His collection of essays, Untimely Meditations, was a critique of contemporary German culture of his time. And Nietzsche very deliberately thought that he's not writing for his contemporaries, he's writing for what he called for tomorrow.
For us.
For us, yeah. So addressing issues that kind of go beyond the specific beliefs or obsessions of his era, that somehow makes us untimely and at the same time more attuned with the underlying tendencies of the age.
I find Nietzsche's commitment to slowness highly remarkable. So, in Beyond Good and Evil, Nietzsche distinguishes between the different kinds of readers, and he notes that the slowest and the most patient reader, and he literally calls them tortoises. So, tortoises were the most likely to understand him deeply.
Yeah, and he also thought that his posthumous readers from the future, us, would understand him more clearly. So, in a sense, he was trying to free from the constraints of the contemporary, from the desire for constant validation that plagues us. And Nietzsche famously said that in order to understand or philosophize, we need to ruminate. Rumination is key to philosophy.
Like cows,
Yeah.
how they ruminate, as in they regurgitate their food and they sit and they chew the cud.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really kind of contending philosophical territory that I don't want to enter, because Heidegger famously said that bovine creatures, they don't have the awareness of death. They kind of are in the open, they move to the death, as opposed to human beings who are conscious. I think it's a
Okay, never mind.
yeah.
Please, dear viewer, forget that analogy. So let's stick to tortoises, not cows.
Yeah, so in any case, whether you want to take the cow analogy or not, we need to focus on rumination. We need to stop scrolling and to take a deep dive. We need to really, even if we are definitely using the digital medium, and I think there is a lot of possibility in that, but we need to take time to digest the ideas that we are taking.
So when we think of beyond immediacy, so beyond the immediate, it does not mean being outdated. So, for example, we had a Stranger Things episode very recently, and we talked about how Victorian botanical Gothic influenced the design of the Upside Down. We would also continue to connect the past with the present. For the next few months, we are also exploring a series on the elements. So, ice, plants, water, fire, these things, they don't care about trends, so they operate on deep time, right? A volcano does not check Twitter. uh, the ocean doesn't care about the fiscal quarter, so they are the ultimate untimely forces.
True.
So this channel is now a space for slow culture. If you want to step out of the current and look at the deep history of literature, art, and philosophy, you are at the right place.
Yes, that's a great word, slowness. It also teaches us that inquiry is never finished. As I said, rumination is really important. And also, slowness kind of teaches us that we need to accept that there will always be more things that we don't know than the things that we know. So, while the internet is kind of works on the hot take or rage bait and so on, if we really want to understand things, we need to stop looking at knowledge as if it's a checklist. Watch the video, know the facts, and finish the topic. In this channel, we would ask more questions rather than offering solutions, but we will also think about share ideas, share possibilities of solutions. For instance, in the elemental Gothic, we are more thinking about how deep time operates, or how people have inhabited within the horror of the ice or the horror of the deep abyss of the ocean, rather than just immediately thinking of it as a finished idea.
So maybe not the ending explained kind of solutions for you, but we are here to inhabit and walk through the problems with you, right?
Yeah.
So what you said about the unfinished nature of inquiry is sort of really important. And here I can think of taking inspiration from the Unfinished Archives project of Walter Benjamin. He's one of my favorite philosophers, and in this he assembles a sort of montage of forgotten 19th century objects and writings, and a lot of memorable commentaries of figures he liked, such as the French poet Baudelaire. Yeah.
Yeah, he was that's a great book, really. And he was sort of a curator of culture. So by constellating, or by creating an assemblage of a vast collection of archival fragments in an unconventional, non-linear way, he was trying to understand the present in a more comprehensive way. And that's something that we also want to do with Anticlockwise.
So, indeed, we envision this channel as a space for curation. I find it fascinating how the words curio and curious are etymologically linked. They are both ultimately stemming from the Latin root cura, which means caring as well as inquiring. So, we see ourselves as a space for you to decompress and care for yourself by caring for culture, for artifacts which are constantly being churned and made worth remembering, but also forgettable in our digital age. So, retrieving the fragments from the past is really important in our time, as the algorithm can hypnotize us in a state of chronic unthinking.
Yeah, I must also mention that both of us have been in academia for about 2 decades now in different capacities. I have been a professor in India as well as a researcher in an R1 university in the US, and you have also been a researcher. So we have been plagued with this publish or perish drive, which plagues the academia as well.
Yes,
So
write the
academia,
paper,
yeah,
get the citation, so
yeah,
on.
yeah. So go move to the next grant, etc. So
Yeah.
it also operates on speed. So, and there is also a focus on hyper specialization that sometimes takes all the joy out of learning. So we wanted to transfer our research skills in this channel without the necessity for speed.
Yeah, of course, we owe our research skills to our academic
Mm.
training. We admit that and we acknowledge that. But we also want to meld it with the pleasure of taking the time to learn, being curious and sharing the joy of finding nuggets from the past. So, the Elemental Gothic series, for example, is an experiment in wilding as well as worlding scholarship.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. So we want to take these ideas out of the classroom and put them back into the wild, into the abyss of the ocean or the ice where they belong.
Yeah, join us in this wild ride.
So let's talk about what this means in concrete terms for the channel. So our hosts will remain the same,
Us.
and we have the same commitment for nuanced discussions. Our core ethos of intellectual humility, inquiring, we acknowledging that we are learners as well, which has been the foundation of this channel in the name of Anti-Library, that remains the same. We are still curious learners, and we are not doing hot takes. We'll continue to tackle complex ideas with the respect and the time and the rumination that they deserve.
So what will change? So firstly, we will have broader topics. We are now officially free to explore everything from medieval paintings to philosophy of movement without feeling strictly tied to literature or even particular kinds of literature.
We actually have an interview with the preeminent philosopher of movement, Thomas Nail, coming up.
Yeah, and more. Yes, we are totally looking forward to those. And we have a new logo and artwork which will reflect this shift from the anti-library to the more cyclical, deep focus approach towards culture. And we will also play around with the notion of time. You'll see that we'll have topics from the past and the distant future. So expect episodes on vintage vampires and humanoids from the future, but also
And occult detectives.
yes, yes, and commentaries on contemporary TV and movies, and they will all always be backed by deep research. So deep dives as usual. We are excited for this evolution, as I hope are you. To our listeners who have been with us as the Anti Library Podcast, thank you for being the most intelligent and engaged audience we could ask for. And we hope for your continued support as Anticlockwise.
Yeah, please continue to support us, share the news, and join us next time as we turn the clock back, forward or sideways. Until then, keep thinking.
Keep thinking.